You're like a ghost in my mind. I can't escape you. I need to believe it was right, but I do not believe it was right letting you go. I can't stand the thought of losing you. Tell me, do you think of me?
Hello. Before we start this video, let me quickly explain what a thesis project is. Because let's be honest, even after 4 years of college, no one really tells you. A thesis is basically that final boss fight you need to win to graduate. It's most common in design programs, but pretty common in foreign colleges. Colleges insist on thesis project because they showcase all the skills and knowledge you have supposedly gained over the years. And the best part, you get to pick a problem to solve. If your idea is actually good, you might even turn it into a startup, which gives a good upper hand after you graduate. Now let's talk about my thesis project. I worked on creating a UI UX design for the 3D collaborative meeting space. It all started with this, a 3D model I made for my faculty's project. Here's the backstory. My professor had these sketches of a wind and solar tree and was trying to get the funding. But the funders couldn't visualize the concept. They were stuck in the ideation phase for like 4 months. So he asked me to make a 3D model of the wind tree with the sketches, and boom, they got the funding. Later, I faced the same issue. While working on my smartwatch for blind project, I struggled to explain the concept to my faculty, so I made a quick 3D model and showcased it using Sketchpad. And guess what? She loved it. That's when it hit me. Design is a very iterative and collaborative process where you must communicate your ideas and concept clearly so that everyone is on the same page. And that realization led me to my problem statement. For those who don't know, a problem statement is basically a fancy word of saying, here's what's broken, and I'm gonna try to fix it. So my problem statement was, how might we create a platform that enables designers to effectively communicate their ideas and collaborate in real time in a 3D space? Now let me break down the design process for my non-designer friends. We have empathize, where we try to understand users and their struggles. Step 2 is define, where we have to do research and come up with a problem statement where I am right now. Then we have the ideation phase, where we sketch a million bad ideas and concept until one looks decent. Then prototype, where we make a rough version, aka something that kinda works. And lastly, test phase. In this phase, we give our prototype to people and let them test it for a soul-crushing feedback. And if the prototype didn't perform well to the users, you will have to go back from test phase to prototype phase, and sometimes you have to start over from empathize phase. And that's why design is a very iterative process. My empathizing phase is done. I moved on to the research phase. Research phase is also like the part where you Google things and pretend you already knew them. Just a heads up, research have 2 steps. One is primary research and the other one is secondary research. So I'm doing the secondary research first, where I'll be analyzing the market trends and competitors which offers the same functionality. I spent 3 days locked in my room doing this, with no sunlight, 2 ORS a day and existential dread. After secondary research, I'm now starting with the primary research, where I will have to talk to real humans. I made a Google form, spammed it everywhere, and patiently waited for 4 days for a good amount of response. Guess what? Nobody cares about my Google form. Also, I was at the fault as well, because I made this Google form where you will have to write so many things, and nobody wants to do that. So I made another Google form, but better than the previous one, and sent it out to people. But this time, I didn't wait. I started reaching out to people, asked people on LinkedIn, and I got 53 response. I know this feels very less, but I could only get these response. And also, I am running behind time as well. While I had spread the Google form, I also conducted interviews with people to get their insights, their need, and pain points. After gathering all this data, I analyzed it using mind maps, affinity maps, and journey maps. I know these are some heavy terms, but you can say that I just drew a lot of messy diagrams to get a clearer view to the problem. After doing this, I sorted out the problem which other people were facing, and there should be a way to view, import, and share 3D models on the web page. People cannot get real feedback in the meetings due to vagueness in the discussion. Online meetings are not very interactive or fun. Technical issues such as laggy meetings and screen freeze, difficulty in screen share with complex softwares opened, There's no features in online meetings to assess the product in real time. Meetings often come out as useless with no outcomes. Well, due to this, my problem statement evolved as well. Now it is, how can we create an easy to use accessible platform that allows professionals from different industries to collaborate using an interactive 3D virtual space, simplifying VR technology, improving communication, and streamlining workflows for everyone. For those who didn't understand this fancy English, basically I'm saying let's make Zoom but way cooler. Now that the problem was clear, I brainstormed key features to fix them. The features were: and this was it, the define phase. Then comes the fun part, the ideation phase. I took my guns out and started brainstorming names for the product. And I can proudly say that I'm not good with names. During the secondary research phase, I got to know that the concept of meeting actually came from Greek and they used to have it in a place called Agora. So I was about to finalize Agora for the final name. I thought of doing a double check, and when I checked, Agora is already taken by someone. So, after much frustration, I realized that online meetings are just people being there, but not actually there. So, I took this phrase to ChatGPT and asked it to translate this in Greek language, and I got three options. Option number 1, Imido, which means I am here. Option number 2, Idomi, which is here I am. And option number 3, Idoxi, which is here not. So I chose to go with Imido as the final product name because it sounds cool and also have a positive statement to it. With the name logged in, I started with the logo.
I just wanna go out on a walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out on a walk with you. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with a
It took some back and forth in Illustrator, but I finally settled on this design because it looks like 3D VR glasses, which is actually the concept and also shows a pair of eyes. Next up, wireframing. Before diving into the wireframing part, I have to decide which are the pages that should be made. So I made an information architecture of the platform, and with the pages written down, I started sketching the ideas.
At night, aligns all the shady features and all our empty worlds. Behind the scene, they're picking up the pieces of all.
And this is the low fidelity wireframe I created on Figma. In paper wireframe and lo-fi wireframe, you don't really care about the aesthetic of the product, you care about the experience. But in high fidelity wireframe, you have to care about the aesthetics as well. So during my research, during my competitor analysis, I realized that there are other platforms offering similar experiences. But they were very niche down to people, boring and not interactive. Basically, they were like Adobe software, but I am aiming to create a Canva. It's all about the experience. So I decided Imido's UI should be playful, minimal, and Disney styled to make the platform interactive and happening. Also, if you'd notice, VR apps tend to use glass morphism design style for their UI, so I am going to be using that as well.
Thinking of who I am I enough if I'm not a man? 'Cause I've been caught in between the masculine, the feminine, what does it even mean? Thinking that I am wrong, feel that I don't fit in. Words are not big enough to explain who I am. Why make it so hard? Why I'm falling through? 'Cause that shit ain't true.
After 5 days, I made around 20 slides, and this is what the screen looks like. I also created the prototype on Figma and thought that I was done 90% with the thesis project. And that's when reality hit me. I took my UI designs for user testing and got loads of feedback. The biggest one, the platform shouldn't be limited to 3D meetings. Users might not want to switch platforms for regular meetings, which sounds fair. Also, my faculty didn't really like the UI design because of using too many Disney style elements and images. Because my product is mostly about the experience and professionals are going to be using it, so it should have a normal UI design like Teams, Zoom, and Google Meet. So I went back to Figma and started redesigning the UI. So this is what the redesigned UI looks like. I took out the design for testing and I got more feedback. I redesigned the UI again and got even more feedback. At this point, I started questioning my life choices. With just 3 days left before my deadline, I tried to give it all. Bought 2 ORS, pulled out 2 all-nighters, and finally, I designed something. And this is what the final design looks like. Also, due to time constraints, I was not able to do user testing this time. Just when I thought I am out of my misery, I forgot about the document. This is where we have to document all the process and work of the thesis project. I did the same thing again. I pulled out another all-nighter and boom, the document is done. I printed the document, cost me like 2000 bucks, but it looks amazing, so no regrets. I don't like giving presentation in front of huge crowd, but thank God. This time there were only few people, so I gave my presentation. Sadly, due to nervousness, I forgot to record the video, but it's okay. In the end, this thesis took away my sleep, my social life, and my gaming time. Gave me a roller coaster of emotions, but it was totally worth it. I think there are some details that I have missed in this video. If you want, you can check out the thesis document. The link is in the description. Also, I'd love your feedback on my UI design. Let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.